Welcome to our free information session about our Main Street Mastermind Dojo. We're so excited to have you join us and learn what we have to offer.
So my name's Dave Baldwin, and I'm happy to join Martin Brossman here for what we've put together in this dojo for you. I personally have gone to a lot of different mastermind type groups and business networking groups. Martin and I got together and we decided we were going to put something together that was not too much alike with what's already out there. We wanted to create a new kind of a resource. So the first thing that we decided was to create an exclusive environment only for brick and mortar businesses so that we could focus narrowly on the specific challenges that brick and mortar businesses are facing. We've put together some methods for helping a brick and mortar business achieve greater sustainable profitability without having to do a lot of the things that businesses think they have to do to get more sustainable profitability.
The reason we call it the Mastermind Dojo is because of my years of experience in a martial art called Aikido, and it's influenced my marketing strategy and how I teach people of looking for the holes where your customers bringing their attention and focusing and your competition is not even considered to go. And I've developed my own approach to marketing for small and micro businesses that gives them a fierce competitive advantage on the ground and on the web over the years that's very different than traditional marketing, because a lot of traditional marketing says we got to throw lots of money at branding out front, and mine is we need to get customers in and fund it, and then we can build that up. For example, a shoe store that I've worked with, and they realized, my gosh, the competitive advantage was the owner of the store, personalizing and humanizing and talking about the new shoes. She was reluctant at first to get into it. Once she did, she had someone come in and say, "You're a celebrity." And they say, "Why do you say that?" It says, "Well, we're all watching your videos online." Many of these techniques have been learned from my years of working one-on-one with brick and mortar and running stores before. It's very different when anyone from the street can come in, and they may come in, versus other businesses. So often you'll be in other groups with non-brick and mortar businesses, and they don't have the same challenge. They don't have inventory shrinkage issues. They don't have the same issues with the employees. They don't have someone comes in that causes a problem right off the street and you have to address it, or something happens and they aren't maintaining your facility, and you've signed a lease and you have payroll to make, but you got the air conditioner and the landlord says it's your problem. Many of these specific issues are not addressed in a lot of the other groups. That's why we wanted something fully dedicated to support the people who really have a brick and mortar location and to give them something affordable. Because Dave, my general coaching rates quite a bit higher than many of them view they can. And this roundtable makes it a very affordable way for me to be able to help a larger number of small and micro business owners like this in a way where they also learn from each other.
And I think that's one of the things that's really excited me about this whole model, because part of what we're doing is we're essentially creating a way to make coaching more affordable and more accessible for people that, like to your point, I mean, it's cost prohibitive to pay in a lot of cases for coaching in the conventional sense when it's dedicated one-on-one coaching. So part of what we want to do here is create a model that would allow us to extend that kind of same value by taking advantage of a group type of a setting. And so one of the things that we're doing in here is we're actually going to build an interactive Q&A library. Is as a paid member of the group, you get to ask a question about something that you're dealing with. And we record a video, a personalized answer to your question. We'll strip out any identifying information, but we'll make it specific as much as possible to the type of situation you bring to us. Other people will find value in as well. And so we're going to build up a library that, we have these videos of us interacting with the participants and creating, the real solutions to people that bring their problems to the container.
Let's talk a little bit about specifics. You started it, that they're getting out of being part of this. And one is the online community. It's a closed community. The focus is it's just going to be people truly connected to brick and mortar environment, so that we've defined what that is. And so, in that closed community, you can post questions or answers, and it's not open to the general public. You must be a paid member to be in it. You don't have to sign any long-term agreement. If you aren't getting value every month, I want you to stop. I want you to know, wow, that was really worth my money each month. Then we also are going to have some regular interval Zoom meetings where you can come in and ask questions, and they have very set structures. And our goal in that is that everybody gets high value out of those Zoom meetings, that not one person's dominating it, but it's clearly a roundtable environment on different topics where at the end of every single meeting, you go, wow, that was worth my time. They'll start on time and end on time. So what we do is we open the door right at the time period, and then we lock the room, and that's set up so that we can have a conversation. Don't have someone dropping, oh, sorry, I'm late. Oh, I'm not here right now, because that really disrespects the people on time. We will open the doors 10 minutes early, but just know right at the set time, it'll be closed. Along with it, some self-paced training that we have. And I've got a basic relationship marketing course you get. That's over a $97 value right at the beginning coming in. Others will be building out as the needs occur. So we'll have those resources as well.
People, this isn't going to be the kind of a group with a strict attendance policy that if you miss, you're going to get kicked out or anything like that. Because life happens. Sometimes you can't make it. And so we've tried to create this. So we've got a closed online group on the Alignable platform. We're going to create that Q&A library. There's going to be other resources and ways to engage with the group, even if you're not able to be at the Zoom meeting. I mean, obviously our goal is to create as much value as possible and have people be able to be there. And that's why we scheduled it in the evening so that it doesn't interrupt with normal business hours. And we invite people to connect one-on-one offline, just like any other kind of group. And that's because that's how those relationships get built.
And then along with that, we'll be interviewing specific businesses in the group, sharing value. We don't want an infomercial. No one's looking for another commercial, but something of value. And you can see some that are available already where we showcase something. An example is you're a business that survived the pandemic, and then you've learned a lot about customer service. You might have learned some insights on hiring people. And then that would be valuable to other brick and mortars, but also when you share education, you show your character, and it's going to not only draw in better quality customers, they'll get to humanize and understand you, but it also, if you have employees, it will attract them to your business. So we're going to do interviews with you on this in a rotating basis based on businesses we go, they have an expertise in that. Let's talk about that. And that you'll find will build more trust than you imagine for both strategic allies in the business, as well as possibly hiring employees, as possible your customers learning a little bit more about you and that they can trust you.
What I really like about the interview format also, Martin, is it kind of levels the playing field. If you don't consider yourself the top public speaking expert, the interview format is designed to be a shallow way to wade into that, because we're going to kind of lead that and have it be a softball type of an approach, so that if you don't necessarily have a polished presentation ready, we're going to ask questions that highlight your areas of expertise, highlight your strengths. And our goal is to make you look good in that interview.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And if it doesn't, we'll cut that little section out.
Exactly. If it doesn't have to see the light of day. So yeah.
Dave, let's talk a little bit about our background and what we bring to the table. I think we've covered some fundamentals of what it is. And again, remember, you're not signing a big contract. You can do it for 3 months, see if it's worthwhile. And then if you aren't getting enough value, I want you to move on. We don't want anyone in the group that isn't getting clear, measurable results.
Absolutely. Yeah. My background, I started out in technology. I was a computer programmer. I ran wire through cabinets for 10 years. And then I got into marketing strategy for the next 10. And then I got into finance in 2017. So if that sounds like a whole bunch of different stuff, you're correct. It is. But I've always enjoyed getting my hands into a lot of different kinds of things and learning different skill sets. And so right now, I feel like there's a lot of opportunity to look at a business through different lenses, look at it through a financial lens, look at it through a marketing lens, look at business processes through an automation and technology lens. And one of the things that's allowed me to do is take a more holistic view of businesses. And just like Martin said, I mean, I can look at a business, kind of see how to do surgery on financial reporting and put together different views of numbers and help business owners see different things from a different perspective.
Alignable came to me and said, would you like to be part of our new program we're rolling out to make an added value to members? And one of the things I was excited is they saw my insight and passion for brick and mortar, and they said, we'd like you to be the point person on this. Then I thought, well, who do I want to team up with? And what I recommend in business is often teaming up with someone who complements you, not just like you. Dave, you may not know it, he's a good speaker, but he's also a natural introvert. He gets a certain level of energy of working on his own. I get energy of being around people. So I love that because he's going to be watching out for the introverts that might show up and making sure we're including them. And he brings that strategic level research in the background. He's also very good at consulting in all these areas. Mind consulting is kind of this on the ground, on the web, and then helping bring out the competitive advantage the people have in the business. My background started many years ago related to brick and mortar when I worked at Radio Shack, and I was working in Washington, D.C. during the school in K Street Radio Shack, and there are only 3 people in the place, and the manager comes up and says, you're now number 2. And I thought, okay, the 3 people, what's the big deal? And then he comes up and says, you're now number 1. I'm buying you lunch. He was really a cheap guy. And I said, well, what, there are 3 people. I'm number 1. What's the big deal here? He said, you don't realize you're the number 1 salesman on the East Coast for Radio Shack in this little store. And all it was helping the customers. It wasn't conning them into something. It was adding value. When they buy this, they probably need batteries. They probably need something else. What else is important? So I really developed that, which led to then after school being part of the first computer stores in Radio Shack, then being a manager promoted to the highest level, then moving on from there into a clone store and a computer repair store, and really understanding what does it mean to manage inventory shrinkage, which is, for people who don't know, it's stuff being stolen. You know, how do you minimize that? How do you handle it? And the first store I got was the top shoplift store in the entire Raleigh area before I took it over. So it really had a challenge, and I learned a lot about how to merchandise along with not having stuff walk out the door. Lots of good stories I can tell you about that in the future, which then in my coaching business, as that built up, I had a real affinity towards the downtown development programs and worked with towns, economic development through the small businesses. I learned in North Carolina, training all over the state, that if we bring in several small businesses to the town, it has more longevity and sustainability than a big box store. Because if you brought in a candle making shop that hired 20 people, they live there, they're not going to move out as quick as a big box store that might. So I've had the chance to work with businesses all over my state in helping the small towns, the downtown developments, working with the chambers of commerce, working with all of these together in helping them through many different ups and downs and getting that competitive advantage that really keeps them sustainable and adaptable during difficult times. Dave, let's talk a little bit about the format of the meeting.
So the way, if we get down to the nuts and bolts of how this is going to work, there's going to be 4 sections to the meeting. We're going to start off with a check-in, and I'm borrowing this phrasing from Martin. We're going to invite people to give a one run-on sentence about what's going on, what's new, what are you working on this week, what are some challenges possibly that you're looking for the group to help you with, or what are some accomplishments, what are some victories, what are something to celebrate. Whatever it is, good, bad, and ugly, you can bring it all in here, and that's the initial phase. The next section will have an opportunity to do a traditional mastermind hot seat for those who are interested in doing that. A hot seat is where you can take a deeper dive into something that you're trying to figure out. Maybe it's you're going to run a marketing campaign and you're trying to figure out how to get customers on Thursday afternoons when it's always dead, or whatever that is. The next piece we're going to go into is we'll have a a topical discussion. And this is going to depend on how much time is left over. I mean, because sometimes if we have a lot of people wanting to participate in the hot seats, there may or may not necessarily be time for the third segment. But if there is, we're going to bring in different topics, something like it might be a seasonal topic. It could be how to take advantage of the holiday season. We might bring in ideas from different books or authors. There's a whole grab bag of topics we've got ready to just create an engaging discussion and stimulate creativity and ideas. And the fourth and final phase, this is where we create action and accountability. This is where people can share, okay, what insights did you get from the session? What do you see as an action step for yourselves to take from this session? If you say something out loud, if you speak an action out loud, you're much more likely to do something with that after the fact. So it's that there's some pretty universally proven psychology behind that.
So there's a clear structure to the meeting. And like he said, sometimes it might be, I've got this little problem. I want to address this. What do people think of this? One example, Dave, would be one small business came to me and they got their first very vicious negative review. What to do? I mean, something that could damage the business. And as far as they can see, someone made it up. I've had this happen many times. And then we're helping them in how to respond to it, which also will help other people, because that ongoing reputation management is critical in a small business. And you don't know who might just decide to dump all their life problems on you that day. And then how would you handle it? So we'll be offering that, and then it can carry on in conversations in the group. So these can be put into the group where you let others contribute to you.
And that's a great example. I mean, and we can all think of countless other things that you run into. You know, what happens if it's your busiest time of the week and your point of sale system goes out on you, or anything along those lines. So yeah, that's the whole idea here, is that the dojo is a place to bring what you're working on and just walk out feeling more empowered than you came in. That's our commitment as part of this environment.
Let's talk about what to do next. You've heard what we're doing. It's got your interest. You want to consider it. What we recommend is sign up. The links are below. You can find them and access it. And I recommend plan at least 3 months. I mean, you can stop at any time along the line, but give it a good 3 months. I guarantee if you roll up your sleeves and contribute and get involved, you'll get value that's well worth the cost you're paying and more in this small business roundtable dojo.
Look forward to working with you in the dojo very soon.
Absolutely. Have a great day. Take care.